Hello! Happy Fashion Week! How are you all doing? Great. Well, I am so excited to be here and to be able to give the next award to Elaine Welteroth. Yes, the editor-in-chief of Teen Vogue. So I want to tell you how I came to know Elaine. Because she is relentless, persistent. Does anybody know that about her? Yeah. Very persistent. And I met her because there was an onslaught of communications from her when she had just finished college and wanted to intern with me when I was working to revitalize Ebony magazine. This is back in 2007. And she had to push past my extremely protective assistant in order to get to me. But when she did, the heavens opened up for both of us. So here's what happened. She was in California. She went to school there, is from there. And as a test, I invited Elaine to come to be an intern to work with me as a PA, basically, on a cover shoot that we did with Serena Williams in California. Serena Williams, recent college grad. Could be a recipe for disaster, right? Not at all. This young, very beautiful woman was not a groupie. She instead was super professional and focused the entire time. So I knew I had a winner. I only had to get her 3,000 miles across the country, and we were talking about an internship. So I had to be really creative. Even though she wanted to come, 3,000 miles internship could be difficult. It worked. I convinced her to come to work with me in my department in New York City that had a total of 2 employees. Even though I was the creative director of Ebony, Ebony was in Chicago, so the staff was there. And I said, look, there's just 2 of us, me and an assistant, so you can do anything that we can envision. If you're willing to use your creativity, we can make it happen. And Elaine's first shoot with me, when she's now an employee, as an intern, was working with Michelle Obama, right as Obama was running for president. It was that day, you might remember, when Michelle Obama was on The View. And remember that dress, White House Black Market that sold out? Well, she went from that shoot at The View to us. But she had an entourage of about 12 of her friends, including Valerie Jarrett, who we see on TV all the time. And this was before Mrs. Obama was a seasoned cover model. So Elaine's job was to distract the ladies and help them to be comfortable. And she did. Remember, she was not even 20 years old at this point. Elaine then worked with me and learned all about the beauty industry. She met everybody she could. One of the things that she did, because we had no budget, we were just backstage, she had it in her mind that we should have video on the Ebony website backstage at Fashion Week. So she convinced someone she had met, who was a videographer at MTV, to do video for Ebony for free. And suddenly, Ebony magazine had this incredible presence on our website from Fashion Week that even some of the big mainstream magazines didn't have. Well, that drive, that creativity, that understanding that you can do any creative thing that you put your mind to, helped Elaine to break the mold. What mold? Going from a traditional African American publication to a huge mainstream publication. It doesn't happen very often. She made the leap from Ebony to Glamour, and not in the first level position, in a senior position. And then she went from Glamour to Teen Vogue in a very high position in 2012, covering beauty and health. And just a few months ago, she became the editor-in-chief of Teen Vogue magazine. Yes. And as the editor-in-chief, she became the youngest person to assume that role, the only African-American, the first, let's say, African-American to assume that role at that publication, and only the second at Condé Nast to ever assume the role of editor-in-chief. And guess what, y'all? She's mine. I found her. She found me. excited to give her the Editor of the Year award. And one of the things that I wrote was that Elaine reminds me a lot of our current president, who we're going to love and wish we had forever in about 2 seconds, because she has similar parentage and a similar journey. As a very young, creative person, she has had to navigate the issues of youth, race, class, and creativity in her career that's now a little over 10 years. She's still at the beginning, doing it with a level of grace that we all wish that we could embody. So my baby, Elaine Welteroth, I'm very proud to give the Harlem's Fashion Row Editor of the Year award. Come on, girl.
I knew she was going to try to make me cry tonight. I knew it, so I went ahead and wrote my speech down. Harriet, I cannot thank you enough. You really have, this was the woman who opened the door for me, and I wouldn't be on this stage without you. So it's impossible for me to even reflect on my journey to the stage without paying respect to the woman, the Black woman, who opened the door for me first. So Harriet, thank you. And Brandon, thank you so much for this absolutely humbling, incredible honor. So, for those of you who don't know who Harriet Cole is, let me just give you a little background. In addition to being a visionary editor, a best-selling author, a designer, a mother, a wife, I like to call her my fairy career godmother. As she mentioned, it was Harriet who many years ago took a chance on a 20-year-old girl from the Bay Area, who was the first person in her family to graduate from college, someone who had no career, no connections in the city, no connections in the fashion industry, but a relentless obsession with magazines and a drive to one day be an editor. But I would have had that dream if I didn't have the example that was set before me with Harriet. So when I found Harriet, I tracked her down. I called her, I emailed her, I followed up with her assistant. I was not taking no, she was gonna take a 15-minute phone call from me, or I was gonna fly to New York and we were gonna have some coffee. So, and the reason I did that is because for me, Harriet validated my dream. I saw someone that I could relate to, that I could aspire to be like. And when you gave me that opportunity, Harriet, you changed my life. You really did. So I have to give credit where credit's due. And I could say that the rest is history. Boom, I made it. You know, thank you for my award, good night everybody. But I think that the truth is, you know, success is measured by these moments. We often think like, oh, this is success, this stage, having this opportunity to share this speech with you guys. But the truth is that success is really measured by those hard, late nights, and overcoming obstacles, and finding creative solutions, being scrappy. You know, it's the teamwork. The meltdowns. We've all had them, right? We've all had the meltdown. And so what I want to say tonight is that excellence is a decision, but it takes the constant nurturing from a tribe and a community that believes in you and uplifts you. And I want to thank Harlem Fashion Row for being that, not just for me, but for countless African American designers who are so worthy of the shine that you're giving them. And I also want to say that I'm eternally grateful for my incredible team at Teen Vogue. They're not here today, but I stand up here and I represent all of them because I couldn't do what I do without them. And to Condé Nast for not only recognizing and rewarding my hard work and my tenacity and creativity, but really for giving me the opportunity, empowering me as a leader. And I want to say that Teen Vogue is a brand that understands the power of representation. the power of what it means for a young brown girl to be able to look up and see someone who looks like her in a position of power to say, I could do that too. That was me with Harriet, and so this is a full circle moment that you're giving me, Brandeis, to be able to stand up here and have that platform. It means so much to me. It means so much to me. So thank you, Brandeis. Yeah, and I just have to say, especially at a time like this, when our world is so colored by social injustice, by violence, by deep political divides, I think there's never been a more important moment than now to be at a place like Teen Vogue that empowers, that inspires, that enlightens young girls, and hopefully gives them an example to know that no matter where they came from, they can make it happen. So thank you again, and thank you guys all for coming.